Alright, what's up guys? So, this is my last video for tonight. I'm gonna do regular videos tomorrow and video reactions, so stay tuned with those. But I thought of this video of my own. I had to write it down on my phone because it's kind of hard to articulate that on top of my head, so I kind of had to figure out a title for it. So I'm going to talk about parents have no control passing down their genes to their child or their kids, but should be aware of them. And parents should be always aware of what kind of genetics are being passed down to their kids, right? Like, these parents can be passing down bad genetics that can hinder the kid's life potentially, right? And if these parents aren't aware of that, then that's not a good thing. That's terrible. And parents should be aware that they could have a family history of bad genetics, or like, say if the kid is born with these genes, and say like they could be born with this disability, it can hinder their life and may have a harder time overcoming obstacles and challenges too, you know? Like, yeah, I mean, if parents had control of what kind of genes their kids would have, they would obviously say perfect genetics, you know? And that's not realistic, right? Because parents should be aware that their kids can have bad genetics, and they're not always going to be good all the time. And it's just random how kids are born with these genetics, right? Be like mutations, you know, like just random cells just like coming together and just forming, you know, somehow. And we don't even know why these mutations happen. It's just random, right? And or it can be from family history. Like, these parents need to focus on their family history and really contemplate on having a kid, and say if the family history has these hereditary diseases that can impact the child and may have a bad life possibly, because like these hereditary diseases make the kid struggle, make the kid go through life and have a hard time going through adulthood, and it can be unbearable and may not enjoy life. So these parents need to look back at their family history and really contemplate on having a kid if they have a lot of hereditary diseases in the family, you know, like if the kid may have like a rare condition coming out at birth, or may experience like a birth defect that can be detrimental to the kid living in this life, you know. That's something that these parents need to consider, you know. And obviously there's a lot of people that bring kids in the world and they weren't meant to have kids, and that's even worse, you know. Not even careful, they're being reckless and not even protecting themselves. They just go and have a kid, and obviously they weren't even thinking of having one. They weren't even considering what kind of genetics they're gonna give their kid, so it's even worse. So, but these parents need to be aware of like what the kid can have. Like, the kid can have autism, you know. Like, for example, if these parents are older, there's a high likely chance that their kid can be born with autism, and the kid can struggle with like making friends. The kid can struggle getting a partner if it craves one, or the kid just may struggle to get a job with autism because the unemployment rate is high, you know. And that's the truth, you know. And yeah, the kid can have autism and still have a good life depending on the circumstances, you know. But these parents need to be aware that their kid can have autism and may struggle throughout life, you know. Like, say the parents were older and decide to have kids, they're more high likely chance. It's not 100% because the parents can still have like a neurotypical child or whatever it is, but they may have a high chance of bringing a kid with autism. So that's another thing. If there's parents that are going to have kids at an older age, they need to be aware that they may pass down these genetics that can give the kid problems, you know, at an older age. So, and that's another thing too. Like, these parents need to be more educated. These parents need to be more knowledgeable of like what the kids can possibly have, but they don't think about that at all. It's all about seeing the kid walk, naming the kid, trying to see it grow up, and they want to see it conform. Most of these parents, they don't really take account of trying to be aware of what the kids will be born with. Like, the kid can be born unattractive, and the kid never asked for the unattractive looks, and people start rejecting the kid when it's older, and has a hard time getting a partner and friends, basically. These parents don't consider that, and obviously they have no control. So they just need to be more aware and be knowledgeable, like what the kid can have. Like, the kid can have Down syndrome, the kid can have like autism, like I said, ADHD, ADD, learning disability. The kid can like be born with a rare condition, you know, uh, or just fragile X syndrome. Like, like the kid could be born with those things, pretty much, and it can hinder the kid's life. It's not always the case that it'll have a good life. It could, right? But it just needs to be aware, and say if they need to be prepared. Like, say if the kid has like these genetics, they need to give them the right support. They need to give the kid like enough care and empathy, and don't want to ignore the kid. Make sure that you're prepared for these challenges on taking care of a kid like that. Because a lot of parents don't. They don't. They don't seem to be prepared. And I think a lot of these parents need to be knowledgeable. Like, if they were abused as a kid, like, say the mother, for example, and she's pregnant, right? Like, she can pass on generational trauma that can be from epigenetics, and if she was abused and she gets stressed out, and that can pass down to the kid. The kid can possibly get like a mental illness. That's the terrible part. And that's another thing. What these parents, like the mother, say if she's pregnant, she can experience stress. She can get discriminated by other people, and she doesn't consider what the kid can be born with when she's stressed out, and the kid is affected by it, and is born with a disability, is born with problems at birth. That's the problem. It's like mutations, epigenetics, family history, what age parents have kids, like older, more susceptible for problems. It's they need to know the outcomes of these things. And yeah, the kid can be born and not have problems at all. The kid can be born and have these slight problems at birth, and may experience a good life depending on what it is. But that's the thing. It's just these parents need to realize and be aware and be knowledgeable what the kid can have. They don't care, seems like, a lot of them. It's all about themselves, about that. They don't want to try to put in the effort to be aware of what they can give their kid. Yeah, it's just it's something else, and um, yeah, and I guess like the parents need to be prepared for like say if kids get discriminated, get harassed, and made fun of, in school. They need to be prepared on those things because of what they have and something that they never asked for. Or what happens if the kid, an adult, has a hard time getting a job because of what they have? They need to prepare for something like that to happen and save their money and try to take care of the kid, because the kid may not be able to work. The kid might have to be on disability, act like a NEET. So that's not the kid's fault. The kid put in the effort to try to be independent and work and make money, but this disability, this mental illness, this rare condition, this hereditary disease, or the birth defect makes it difficult. So these parents need to be aware of that, even though they have no control of where they give the kid. It's crazy to me. But that's it though.